She participated in major political, social movements of her time while pursuing education in cities across North America. As I said, she lives in Vancouver, and she has recently published a book of hers, and I think there are CDs as well. And they are, she has some copies here, but I would like to invite her to read from her book, which was published this year. Ms. Valis.
Thank you, Giant. And it's wonderful to be among people who value freedom for themselves as well as for others. And it's the second part that's quite difficult, I think. I'm going to read just a couple of poems from Freedom on the Fault Line, which is on Amazon.com, and also just an anthology. And my interest is how we structure society, how we live together, and what it is that we do to make life difficult for each other. And I'm particularly interested in, excuse me, utopians. I'm interested more in what good people do in our societies rather than to bring on misery, rather than the psychopaths. We have a lot of totalitarians who take over a country and they create a lot of misery, but we probably have a lot more good people with pure motives, pure intentions, who do a lot more harm in the long run. So kind of this is my interest. And the first poem that I had published in this series was dedicated to people who love humanity and have big plans for it. And it's titled, I Don't Like You. So I know from the country I was born in what happened when utopians took over, created total devastation. So, and I'm a recovering do-gooder. There's another. Not completely cured, but on the way. And one of the problems with utopian systems is they do not permit opposition, as it was in the Soviet Union, because in a paradise on earth, what's there to complain about? Well, you cannot question, you cannot criticize, there's something wrong with you. And I think that opposition, space for opposition, is essential to freedom. So here's one poem. Opposition sheds light on your position. It's moonlight letting you know where the ground ends and the water begins. And this is part of my do-gooder days. I worked for the government, and this poem is called Rental Agreement. Can you hear me back there? You can hear okay. I understand the concept. If you want something, you have to offer what is asked in exchange. You could try to negotiate. The other party doesn't have to. If you want money to buy more freedom, you have to rent yourself out, losing some freedom. You hope the freedom you'll buy eventually will be more than you will lose now. I worked for the government. My profession was helping. Everyone spoke from the same script. Sometimes I fell off the page. I was sent to teamwork classes. My mind had too much free space. They were certain they had rented all the space. I thought I had rented only a section. Ideas they claimed did not fit in were wandering through my mind, disturbing their beliefs. People walked into our program seeking help. They left crawling. Then they stopped leaving their homes. They were told they would always need us. We would always be paid for being needed. As the number of people needing us increased, so did the money taken from people who did not need us. My office window faced the back of a row of cars, their emissions mixed with the office air. There were people who put aside their troubles to say to me, "How can you work here? You're breathing air that people commit suicide with." Money makes demands, however you get it. But doesn't everything and everybody? Freedom makes demands. The concept is simple, but the rental agreement is not. Read the fine print. It could be a bill of sale. I'm also very interested in how it is that we control what people think, how they feel, how they interpret their experience. And of course in totalitarian countries, if you complain, you have a different point of view, you disagree, you're shot, you're sent to Siberia, but they have a way of shutting you down. Now in the more civilized countries, we hurl labels at each other. And it used to be heretic, which I don't think they were the civilized times, but anyway, close. Today it's prejudice, racist, homophobe, it's labels. You can't even have a phobia of your own choice anymore. It's, unacceptable to have a phobia. Can you imagine that? Here we are. Prejudice, he said. Oh, this was written when someone accused me of being prejudiced because I questioned one aspect of the medical profession. So I'm prejudiced against modern medicine. Prejudice, he said. What you reject is in charge. You must approve of the other. If you refuse, you lose your place in the line. Who are you to pick and choose? You versus an armies of PhDs, MDs, and law degrees. Nobel Prizes need no proof. Well, we know that because the Peace Prize is given to warmongers, right? Spiritual masters know enough to sell out concert halls. Theories rule life. Don't trust your experience. Your color taints you, your traditions condemn you, your laughter accuses you. Prejudice, he said. Prejudice, I replied. You're assuming pre because you disagree. I admit I use maps drawn by lost travelers. I approved of the endorsed, derided the ridicule. Can't blame me entirely. I hung around universities, got into some bad thinking, inhaled in libraries, even used prizes to get high. I avoided the marketplace. But when consequences hit, I saw people get sick, communities break into pieces. I went cold turkey. Detoxed, scrubbed clean, fed on ignored facts and patterns. I accepted experience. Prejudice, I replied. And this is dedicated to the utopians. Avalon. If you find the island of apples and mist, vine-covered hills where the wounded King Arthur was taken to heal, where everything you need grows without plowing, fruits in abundance, as you lean back in a garden of roses, listening to a flute, and the distant laughter of people in harmony with sacred laws. An island ruled pleasingly by 9 sisters, healers and enchantresses, making it easy to reach 100 years or more. If you find this fortunate isle, send me a message when you settle in, please.